In this episode of Rooted in Retail, I get to sit down in person with Russ Jones, a rep in the gift and home space with Ivy Stone. I've known Russ for many years, consider him a friend, and this is such a great conversation. I hope you get to actually watch it versus listen because we are in person together at the Las Vegas market, and you gotta check out Russ's suit. He is a perfect example of somebody who just nails personal branding. And that is something that we are talking about in this episode. The importance of really bringing your personality and your authentic self into your store, your products, your store, storytelling, how to connect with your customers. And Russ has some really great stories of how he used to do that when he used to be a retailer. He's a rep now, but used to have a store in New York City and has some really fun things that he used to do that I think you're going to love hearing, and you're just going to love Russ and his energy. Now, because he is a rep, we are also talking about how you can work well with your rep and how you can really work with them as a business partner, not just a salesperson. He's got really great tips there. So be sure to listen into this whole episode at the end. We also have some advice for you. Russ has been in the industry, in the retail industry, very rooted for many years. And so he's got some great advice for our independent retailer listeners. Before we dive in, let me tell you a little bit more about Russ. From Broadway, retail to being a rep, Russ Jones has had a great time living and working in New York City. For the past 18 years, Russ has been a rep with Ivy Stone, working with designers, architects, and retailers, bringing beautiful home products to his customers from Curry & Company, Ike Howlett's USA, Loloy Rugs, Villa & House, and Napa Home & Garden. Winning the prestigious Arts Award 3 times for the best rep in the East Coast, a board member for Gift for Life, and starting the new Home vs. Hunger charity, raising money to benefit World Central Kitchen, uniting the home and accessories industry, are a few of Russ's most proud accomplishments. Yes, Russ used to perform on Broadway. We talk about it in this episode, and he's got some fun things that he integrated that part of his life into his store. Again, I think you're really going to love the energy, the ideas, and Russ. So let's dive into this episode. Welcome to Rooted in Retail, the show that's dedicated to helping independent retailers thrive in today's ever-evolving retail landscape. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, and I'm thrilled to have you join me weekly as we explore topics that are vital to the success of your store. From marketing to mindset, money to merchandising, sales to leadership, we'll cover it all. Each episode features interviews with industry experts and accomplished retailers who share their real-life insights and actionable advice. Get ready for a great conversation on how to build your dream business with Rooted in Retail. Russ, welcome to Rooted in Retail. I'm thrilled you're here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah, this is fun. So we are live at the Las Vegas market. If you are watching this, then you can see that this looks very different than how we normally film. And Russ has taken some time out of his busy schedule to sit down and have a conversation about retail.
Anything for you.
Oh, thanks, Russ. Thank you. So You are super rooted in retail. You used to be a retailer.
Yes.
And as we were planning for this, you said, I think one of the most important things for retailers is to make their stores a reflection of themselves. So what kind of store did you have and how did you do that?
I had a gift shop that was called Flights of Fancy. I wanted to call it, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but I wanted to call it Shit I Like, because that's what I would buy I would be at market.
Yeah.
But the awning was just going to be the initials SIL, and so people in the know would know that it stood for Shit I Like. Because I love to go shopping and I love to buy stuff, but I buy what I like, and that's what I can sell.
Yeah.
And so, and even if it's not something that I would necessarily, when I came to market, even though it wasn't something necessarily that I really wanted, it was the best of what that was, and it helped tell my story.
Yeah.
So, and I just think being authentic and being who you are needs to be a reflection of you. And it's funny because I found out that my store did much better business if I was there.
Interesting.
So it's a little bit like a ball and chain in some ways,
right?
Because, and I loved being there, but there were also times that I was like, I just need a day off. Like, it's hard to be on all the time.
Oh, for sure.
But when you buy all the stuff and you run the store and you do all the displays, and I mean, it was a one-man show, and
Yeah. Well, and I bet listeners are so nodding right now, being like, yep,
totally.
I can completely relate to Russ. You're speaking my language. Now, you are unique in the sense that you used to perform on Broadway.
Yep.
And so bringing that authentic self of your past, how did you integrate that into your store?
Well, it's funny. My store was in New York City. And when I was transitioning from Broadway, because you can only sing and dance so long, and then it's like, yeah, I need to do something else. And I was so attracted to shopping and selling and all that stuff, and it was a very easy transition. But in my store, we did lots of things. I mean, I played Broadway soundtracks all the time. It was funny, I was on the road with Hello Dolly with Carol Channing the last time she did it, and I came into the shop, and they were playing, it was when rent was big. And I walked in and they're going, how am I gonna pay my rent? I'm like, no. We don't play that music. We play, we're in the money, the skies are sunny. I wanted it to be more positive, and I didn't want people shopping in my store thinking about, how am I gonna pay my rent?
No kidding, I'm not putting it down.
No, I'm like, no. So, but I sang in the shop all the time when the soundtrack, music really moves me and it sets a tone. And I would hire my friends who were not in shows at the time to come work and help at the store. So it was all Broadway people that were there, and we just had a great time. I mean, it's so important to just have fun doing what you're doing. And that just creates an ambiance for the store and for your customers to just know that you love what you do. And it's okay to show that.
Yeah.
You don't have to pretend like you're something else. We're not Macy's.
Exactly.
And
which
those
is the
people
benefit.
don't look like they're happy to be there.
No.
But I was thrilled to be in my store every day.
Yeah. I'm not going to get this stat right, but I did hear that people are they're 26% or something, I feel like it was higher than that, more likely to stay in a store if music is playing and they like the music. You are creating this ambiance and that atmosphere. You mentioned that you did a September singing sale.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's so funny because September is a big month for Broadway shows to open, and there are a lot of, Stephen Sondheim was born in September, West Side Story opened in September. So again, being just true to myself and who I was, I did a September singing sale. And being in Manhattan, a lot of people, and I was on the Upper East Side, so a lot of people would go out to the Hamptons for the whole summer. Okay. So a lot of my regular customers. And then I had to pay sales tax in September. I'm like, well, I've got to do something to raise some cash so I can pay the damn sales tax. And so I came up with a September singing sale. And I think it was Woodstock Chimes used to do little grand pianos, and I had a microphone and a spotlight, and it was all very theatrical. The store was always very theatrical, but I'm kind of theatrical, so it made sense.
Love it.
So I made a calendar and sent it out to all my customers, and that's when we did snail mail. We did have an email address, but it was AOL. That's how long ago it was.
Dial up.
But every day was something different, and it just really created such a community because people would just open up the door and go, tonight, and just, but they would get 20% off if they sang something from whatever day that was. So it was just really fun, and it was a fun way to engage your customers, and it really made the whole month of September an event. And it helped raise some money to pay the sales tax. So that was all good.
So if any retailers listening to this is a great idea for September. I love it. And now that we do have social media, imagine that content.
Oh my gosh. I mean, if we had only had, well, I'd probably be arrested or something. But that's why I'm so glad that all that stuff wasn't around when I was a kid, because I'd be like, I'd be in so much trouble.
Simpler.
But it would be so amazing now to have footage of that stuff. I mean, we didn't have cell phones. I mean, it was a while ago. So
yeah, I love it. I love bringing that authenticity to your store, having fun, connecting with your customers. Now you have been a sales rep for how many years?
18 years.
18 years.
I closed my store 18 years ago. Yep.
Okay, and you are the top sales rep, aren't you? In all of the reps.
Of the whole universe.
Can we just say that?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
Guilty. No.
Yes.
I love being a sales rep. But again, it's about being your authentic self, and people, you know, all right, this is how I dress for markets, but it's more my costume. And again, coming from showbiz to retail to being a rep, I want to be seen, I want to be noticed, I want to be remembered.
Yes.
So I don't have a problem with it. And, you know, people like stop me in the hallway and want to take my picture all the time. They're like, can I take a picture? I'm like, sure. Yeah. But, you know, it kind of just builds on who I am, and it's my brand.
Yep.
Even though I work for a rep group and represent some fabulous manufacturers, it's my brand. So
the power of personal branding, I think, is really important, especially now, because we have so many choices.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this video, Russ has an incredible suit. He always does. If you're not watching this video, you need to head over to YouTube and check it out.
Right.
Now, something that you said when you had your store, you emphasized the concept of storytelling in your retail approach. How do you see your attendance at markets like Atlanta and New York to build these stories for your store?
Well, you know, the way I shopped as a retailer, I would walk around the first couple of days, and I know it's expensive, and I know that it takes time, and it takes you away from your store, but you need to like see what's out there in the market, and especially if you're a store owner and you don't get out and see what other retailers are doing. This is a great way to find out what's happening out there. And so I would walk around and make notes and go, oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun. Oh, I could tell this story. And so I would make my notes, and then I would decide to go back and place orders and know the story that I was going to tell. I didn't do it on a whim, and I didn't buy things randomly just because I liked them. I mean, occasionally, yes, but it was more of planning a story to tell, depending on what the season was and what was coming up and how I was going to, you know, New Yorkers shop by windows, so my window is very important to have a great display. And, you know, I figured out how to make it snow one year in my window. But I had a lot of theater friends that I could come and go, hey, how can I do this? And we would construct things and make things happen. And we didn't have a big budget, but I mean, the store was 850 square feet.
Okay.
So, you know, I hung a Christmas tree upside down and made a chandelier tree. And it was one of like the first ones and then all of a sudden they were like on the market everywhere.
Yeah.
But
trendsetter.
Wish I had marketed it.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Yeah.
But you know, it's about telling a story and putting things together from different vendors because some things, I mean, if you're gonna make a big splash, that could be expensive. But then you can find other things to go along with it that you can make your margin on, because those things aren't that expensive, but they're buy expensive stuff, so you can charge more for it, you know, and take it out of the packaging. I would never like have things like in a Boston International or any of these vendors with their logos on it, Juice Company, all that stuff. I would not promote that. I would promote my story that I was telling.
Yep. And
just unpackage it and tell a story and have enough to show and enough to go.
Yeah.
You can't tell a story half-assed. It just doesn't work. Because someone comes in and likes your story, they're going to buy it, and then it's going to be gone. And then what story are you going to tell?
Exactly. Well, and wouldn't you say that's the power of markets like this, where you can come and, because there's such a rise of wholesale online marketplaces, and those can have their place. But I do think that the power of being in person is so important, and what you can find
it's still
here.
So important. And I don't think, you know, there's a lot of inside sales and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think the rep is ever going to go away. I think reps can be very useful, especially if you don't spend a lot of time at market, you just come. But just the energy from market is so important to just get that charge and recharge, because in your own store, day after day after day after day after day, it can wear you down.
Yeah.
It's
exhausting.
So true. And it's like time to make the donuts, you know, and that's how you kind of feel. But coming to market and seeing new product and being visually stimulated by other people's displays can really craft your own ideas and make you more creative.
Absolutely. It like unleashes the creativity.
Totally. And that's why I would just walk around. I would allow myself to be creative. And I still do that to this day. I try to take at least an hour every day when I just turn off all my devices and computers and screens, and because I'm one of those that has, you know, 2 screens and my iPad and my phone, But just shut all that down and sit and be creative for a moment. Allow the creativity to come and happen, because there's so much going on and it's so fast paced, and you have to give yourself permission to power down for a moment.
Yep.
And be creative and see where that leads you. And sometimes I'm creative about work. Sometimes I'm creative about the dinner I'm going to make or the next outfit I'm going to wear. It comes in different ways, but you have to push out everything else and allow yourself that time.
Yep. And something I find too, when I'm feeling like I just need that break and I need to rest, you take the time to rest, and what often happens is, because I've given myself that space, the creativity, new ideas, answers come to us. But I think it's hard for retailers. They won't put that as a priority of setting and creating that space and unleashing their creativity. But it's so important. And again, there's so many choices that the consumer has, that I think that the retailer has to make time for the creativity. They have to storytell. They have to be themselves.
Totally. And they have to. It has to be an experience nowadays. I mean, I go into a lot of stores still, and the ones that are the most successful are the ones that are creating an experience, and be whatever that is. If you sell food, having food out. If you, whatever it is, it needs to be. But it has to be authentic. It can't be forced. People can read that right away.
Yep.
And there's everyone's bombarded with so many, emails and ads on scrolling through Instagram and all that stuff. So it needs to be authentic. It needs to be you, and it needs to reflect who you are and what you bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's about being you. That's where I found I've always been most successful, is just being me and making no excuses for it. I am who I am. You like me or you don't, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Not everybody is for everybody, but...
So true. I'm really glad that you're saying that, because we work with so many retailers who have a lot of fear of being themselves, and that can feel scary. What if people don't like me? What if people judge me? What if I mess up? And it holds them back.
Totally. And there's you can't be anybody else. You just have to be you. It's just so much easier. It's like the path of least resistance a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I try to follow that in life as well. Like, just doors open up and things happen when you're just you and not pretending to be somebody else or trying to go, oh, well, I'm Beyonce. And you're not. She is. Why do you want to be her? Be you.
Yep.
Because I think everyone is unique and brings their own unique flair and style to the table, and it can be celebrated, but only if you celebrate it first. You have to give permission to people to celebrate you.
I love that, Russ. Amen. That's
I should write that down. I've never said that
Good thing
before.
we're filming this.
Right?
You can get access to that. That is so good. But it's so important for the retailer to hear, so thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about how the retailer can work best with their rep. Because a rep is a salesperson, but they can also act as a business partner. Like
a consultant.
A consultant, yes.
A free consultant, basically.
Yeah.
Because you're not paying the rep. Now, I love being a rep, and I love my job, and I love selling pretty stuff. There are good reps and there are bad reps. It's the same in life. There are good people and bad people. But you got to try them out, especially if you don't spend a lot of time at market. Reps can bring the market to you, and that's an invaluable service. But, I was always leery of the reps that would just come in and go, hey, do you want to buy this? Because they hadn't looked around my store and didn't know anything about me or what I was doing. I'm like, no, I don't want to buy that. But then I made relationships in this business. Being a retailer or being a rep or coming to market, it's all about relationships.
Yes.
We can get as digital and as highfalutin and fancy as we want. It's still a very huggy, touchy kind of business that we're in, and it's great.
Yep.
So build that relationship, allow them to come in. But if they don't know how to be a rep yet, maybe tell them, you should look around my store.
Yeah.
See what I do. This is my niche. This is where I fit in. Now let's talk about what you have. And you can tell in the first few minutes if they have something that you're going to work. It's not. But then, a lot of times vendors will do specials for the road that you can only get through your rep. So don't count them out as a waste of time.
Yeah.
Some are, I totally hear you. But some aren't, so.
Yeah. So are there certain questions that you should be asking reps to really be able to decipher between, is this a good rep, are they on my side, or are they a salesperson just trying to make a quota?
Again, I think it's being authentically you and going, if it's a line that you already carry in your store, I would try to find out who the rep is in the area and see what they can do to help. And you're not marrying them. You can end the relationship. You can say, you know what, I'm just going to go direct, and that's fine. But sometimes they can, go, well, this was really hot at market. And I know it's not really your thing, but this is really close to it. Or, and make other suggestions for you so you don't miss out on, especially if you don't go to market, you don't miss out on the hot things or what's going on in the marketplace right now.
Exactly.
So they're like the feet on the street, and they also know, reps generally have territories, so they know what Betty Sue is carrying down the street. And so you're not in competition, even though you could be both gift stores, quote unquote, but you both should have your own personality.
Right.
And you both could sell the same line, but most lines are so big, no one's going to carry all of it. So it's up to that rep to know, oh, you do this part and you do this part, and we all get along. And not allowing the neighbor down the street to order the same damn thing that you're ordering because you found it first.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a lot of negotiation, but I made some great friends as a rep, and that's why then transitioning from I had my store for 10 years, transitioning from my store, and the only reason I closed it is the rent got so expensive in New York City. And I was just like, I am working way too hard to pay this rent. And especially selling tchotchkes, basically, right? Cards, candles, lamps, jewelry. Basically, whatever I liked, that's what I bought. There was a time where fountains were big, and I went in and did fountains and sold a ton of them and had a great time, but then they went out and then I never sold them again.
Right.
But it's about changing, and I also think it's really important for retailers to move stuff around in their store all the time, especially if you have repeat customers. People shop very weirdly sometimes, and they don't always see everything that you have.
Right.
But if you move it, and then they're like, oh, is that new? I'm like, have you seen it in here before? No. Well, then it's new to you. It could have been here for 10 years, but here you go.
But let's say it's new.
But, it's about changing and telling different stories so you can still, especially for the return customer, so they have a new story to hear and see and experience.
Such good advice.
And I would change my window almost every month, unless it was like for Christmas. Of course, I didn't change it every month. I went from, Halloween to a little bit of Thanksgiving to Hanukkah, Christmas, depending on where that fell, because being in New York, I had a lot of Jewish customers and on the Upper East Side. So I wanted to celebrate every holiday and every holiday should be celebrated, I think.
Yeah.
And life, every day should be celebrated.
I know, I so agree. I actually listened to a session last week when I was in Nashville, and the speaker, Georgianne Bender, was talking about merchandising, and she used to have a store at a train station. So in the morning, she had her displays. Then when everybody left rush hour, she would change, bring new stuff out for the lunch crowd, and then change it again for the evening crowd. So 3 times a day, she was changing her displays. But when you're getting that kind of traffic, you want it to feel fresh and new, because then people are like, oh, I haven't seen that yet. There's so much new stuff coming through here. Yeah.
And that's how you sell it. And that's how you move merchandise.
Exactly.
It can't sit in the same spot forever in your store. And I would move furniture around in my store, but I did that as a kid too. I drove my parents crazy because they would go out and there'd be a babysitter, and I'd be like, I think I'm going to redo the living room and just move all the furniture, and they'd come in and like, Russ, what have you done?
Oh my gosh. Are you a Gemini?
No, I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, okay. I'm a Gemini who loves change, and I was rearranging my room every week. I never did the other rooms like you did.
Oh no, my room was set. I like order and constancy and consistency in my life. So my rooms are, but I like changing other parts of the house.
Okay, I like it.
Just for newness.
Yeah, you need that newness.
But it's so important for people not to be afraid to try things. And even if you move a piece of furniture and you figure out, well, that really sucks there, you can move it again.
Exactly.
Don't nail it into the wall, but
Yeah.
you're not getting married to any of it.
Yep.
You should try everything that you can.
I love it. You have given our retailers so much to think about and a lot of value. Is there anything looking back when you were a retailer that you've learned all these years and being a rep, what advice would you give to a retailer who's in it, running their store?
That's a great question. I think what I wish I had done more of when I was a retailer was to leave the store and experience other parts of the city and what other people were doing in retail. Okay. You put your blinders on and you go to work and you just do what you're doing. And it's about allowing yourself to be creative and to let the creativity just flow through you. And it's all about giving yourself permission to have fun, to not be at the store, to not work 7 days a week, permission to take a day off. All those things are so important just to rejuvenate and revive and be creative and learn how to express yourself better.
Beautiful.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's beautiful advice. Okay, are you ready for the resilience round?
Oh God, I'm going to be horrible at this.
No.
Okay.
You're going to be fabulous. Best business book.
Best business book. The Bible.
Okay. Yeah.
There's another one called Being You. I think, Being You. Or no, They Buy You. That's what it is.
Oh,
They
interesting.
Buy You.
Okay.
Because you're selling yourself.
Yep.
And that's what being an actor was, being a retailer, and being a rep. Mm-hmm. They're buying you.
Beautiful.
So,
yep. Yeah. Okay, great books. Yeah. Love it. Best retail technology, like an app or software?
Gosh, I've been out of the retail thing for so long. I mean, as a rep, there are some great apps and platforms. ShopZeo, I think, is probably really good I use RepZeo, which is the rep side of it, but they have a ShopZeo for the retailer side of it.
Nice.
And I really haven't been on it much, but it's very similar, I'm told. And my customers could shop there and then send me a cart and all that stuff. So that's kind of a cool one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you keep up with the ever-changing retail landscape?
Get out there and explore. Mm-hmm. The only way to keep up with it, you're not going to keep up with it if you're not going out and seeing what's happening. Going to market, very important, and shopping other stores. And I would always announce myself when I went into other people's stores, because they might know you already or not know who you are, and you don't want to be like, it's not like being a spy or anything. I'm not good at espionage, especially dressed like this. People are like, oh no, that's
Wait
Russ.
a second.
That's why I could never have a career as a robber or something, because they put my mugshot up and being like, oh, that's Russ.
Oh yeah, thousands of people are just flooding it.
But go out and explore, and I would announce and go, hey, I'm Russ and I own Flights of Fancy. And just wanted to check out your store. It always looks so interesting. Lead with a compliment. And then you have permission to look around. And it's not like you're going to steal stuff from them. And you don't need to steal.
No.
Nobody needs to steal from anybody. You can be your own, you can do your own thing, but it can spark imagination and creativity, which I think is so important.
Awesome. I so agree. Okay, because retail is ever changing, how do you recharge your batteries?
Well, like I said, I take an hour every day basically to just sit down and go, okay. And if I have projects that I know I need to do, and I try to figure out how I'm going to do that, or a presentation, or a big customer that I'm going to meet for the first time, and what should I lead with? But you have to allow yourself the time to figure all that out. Doing it by the seat of my pants, I could do it sometimes. It just depends on your customer. And you also need to learn how to read people and know, that was a good acting thing that I learned, like reading people and know how to talk to them. Because everyone kind of speaks the same language, but differently in different languages. Do you know what I mean?
So true.
And you can say one thing to one person and they don't get it, and then you say it to another person and they get it. But it's just learning their language and how to present to them.
And how to connect. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's all connections.
At the end of the day, retail hands down, but life too.
Life.
to help retailers be stronger, more rooted in success, what's a sales best practice?
I think be authentic, be honest, be who you are. And you know, as long as, and I've found this to be always the case, as long as you always tell the truth, and I tell my customers, listen, I know on the website it says it's going to ship mid-September. You're not going to get it until late October. Just setting expectations and being honest. And I will tell you, and that's one thing I say to my customers when I meet them for the first time, and this might be too much, but here we go. I would say, I'm way too old for a one-night stand. I'm looking for a long-term relationship. I will always tell you the truth as I know it to be, and I expect the same back from you. Because it makes them laugh. They kind of see that I have a sense of humor, but it also is very real. Like, I am way too old for a one-night stand. I want to be the person you come to all the time to buy.
Yes.
And so I'm making this commitment to you, and I expect the same back from you. So, and the only way I can do that is by telling the truth all the time. I don't like, and I work with a lot of designers in New York, and people are always like, oh, well, if I buy a lot, can I get a better price? And I'm like, no, because you're a designer and this is your price level. Retailers should get a different price level because they're making a commitment to rent, overhead, employees, electricity, all that stuff. And not that designers aren't doing that as well, but there are different price levels for a reason. And so I keep all of my designers on the same price level, and that way I can say all of my customers are on the same price level. I don't have to worry, I'm not lying.
Perfect, exactly.
It's very easy for me to say. And so I think being authentic and being honest and being you is the most important.
Beautiful. Final question, what is the future of independent retail?
You know, I think the future's bright, but I'm kind of a Pollyanna kind of person. I always look for the bright side. And it's what you make it. You have the power. You have the store. You can buy what you want, tell the stories that you want, and be the person that you want to be. Nobody can do that for you. You got to do it. And just, again, that's why being authentic and real, it's just going to be, it's so much easier to do it that way. Because then you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. The wheel works really well. Why reinvent it?
Yes, because we want to make things hard for ourselves, Russ.
Don't do it.
You don't do
it. The path of least resistance.
Yes, seriously. Oh, that's so good. Russ, how can people find out more about you? Where can they connect with you?
I am on Instagram, RussNYC1. I work for Ivy Stone. It's the rep group that I work for. We're at all the major markets. We have a showroom, but I also rep Curry and Curry and Company, Leloy Rugs, Brownstone Furniture, iColts, which is a great line, and Villa Inn House. So awesome. And you can also follow me on Instagram and What's Russ Wearing? That's my hashtag. What's Russ Wearing?
I gotta follow the hashtag. I can't believe I haven't been. So good. Thank you so much for your time. This was so good.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Awesome.
And just keep doing you.
Yes, keep doing you. Well said. And remember, I am rooting for your success. Have a great week ahead. Thanks, everybody. Bye. If you're tired of your social media creating little to no results, or you feel like your content has just gotten stale or maybe even boring, I have a brand new free training for you. It's called the Social Media Hooks and Hacks, How to Save Time and Stand Out. This training is going to help you capture your customers' attention from the very beginning, get them to stop the scroll, engage, and act. You're going to stand out from the competition with branded, unique content. It's time to save time and connect with customers like never before with this 80-minute training. You can get it at crystalmediaco.com/hooks, HOOKS, hooks. Don't delay. Watch this training. It's going to transform your content. You're going to love it. Enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. Don't forget to join the Rise and Shine newsletter, which is social media news you need to know, sent via email every Monday morning. Go to crystalmediaco.com/rise to join. And don't miss the newest episode of Rooted in Retail, which drops every Sunday morning.